So I wanted to share with you some of my watercolor work because I think it's good to look at different artwork and it's good for your teacher to share what they do outside of school. So this is actually an artwork that began with a visa project of watercolor and I've made it as a demo. So a lot of techniques that you're going to use are in here. You can see I've included some pattern making with stippling and positive and negative space using the micron pens. Right here, these patterns in the green grass, that is using alcohol. On this figure here, that is a wash with India ink. You can see how I use India ink also to create the patterning of the hair. The entire sky is done with salt. The bird was a series of washes and blending wet on wet and then going over and adding detail and refinement with dry brush. And my main technique really is to blend right on the paper using a slight wet on wet technique and then going over and adding detail back in with a dry brush. I don't like the paper to ever be completely dry because I always like just a little bit of a bleed. Okay. And one thing that's really great is you can see on the female figure there's a lot of highlight. That's literally just leaving the paper white to get that shine. Okay, so I thought I'd just walk you through a few pieces. So they're all stacked here because I don't have a lot of floor space. So this was the next piece in the series. I was really inspired with this idea of a dying planet. So art with a story that is being told and a meaning behind it. You can see some more dry brush, you can see some more blending right on the paper. I'm putting down lots of different shades of green and letting them bleed and blend and guiding that blending with my brush. You can see dry brush on the bird again. And what I really love is just how when you get that blending and bleeding, you get this amazing kind of transparent textures and layers of color. Okay, and see salt in the wing of that bird. And here's the next one. Always thinking about color and meaning, so you can see the colors are similar but changing as the story changes, and I'm adding in new details like the dying bees, but these kind of birds with these crowns are these main characters in the story, and the sky remains too. The background is just slowly evolving as the story unfolds. Okay, and you can see the light washes and all the dry brush to get the texture of the feathers, whereas the bees, they have a more solid texture, but still letting those colors bleed and blend together. It's so important to let the watercolor have control and then go back and try to refine it. I think that was one easy way to work. And then here's kind of the last one in this story. You can see the color changes, repeating imagery. These figures were in the first painting. So was that guy, so bringing back some, and then you can see the texture and the color on the feathers, lots of layers. That's what's so great about watercolors. You can keep layering on top of it, keep reworking it, really letting the watercolor move and layer and bead washes. Really don't try to make it solid. Watercolor is never solid, nor should it be. Letting the paper shine through, letting the bleeds happen. And here's what I'm working on now, which is kind of in the same series, but a much bigger piece. You can see all the detail I was doing in those flowers. So anyways, this is my work, and it was fun to show it to you guys, and we will continue to look at watercolor and experiment and play with it, and I'll also show you some ink paintings. Thanks so much, guys.